we're gonna get to the New Japan Pro Wrestling Cup, and the finals are set. Um, the Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada is going to be in the finals, and he's going up against the King of Darkness, Evil, after Evil defeated the Cold Skull Sonata, who was Alex's pick. But don't worry, Alex, you weren't the only one that lost in this tournament because my pick, the Ticking Time Bomb, Hiromu Takahashi, lost as well. Um, and I thought both matches were excellent. I thought they were great. Alex, my questions to you is two of them. What were your thoughts on the matches, and what are your thoughts on the tournament so far as a whole? Have you loved what they've done?
Absolutely. I've loved what the New Japan Cup has brought this year. We had the junior heavyweights that were entered in the number of 30 competitors that were starting in the New Japan tournament. And a lot of my favorite matches were the physical ones, blow after blow, and New Japan definitely delivered with this tournament, which has to be the best so far this year, in my opinion.
I'm with you 100%. I think when you look at um everything going on, and we have a comment from Top Fan, and I'm going to say it, saying Rainmaker will win it all. So they have their prediction right there. They think Kazuchika Okada is going to win it. Now I went the crazy route, and you can also really quick. You can listen to my other show that I do, Takedown Breakdown, every Sunday night on YouTube, and also on 90.3 FM. With myself, Lyle Gill, and Scott Nebb, and Justin Caracciolo. And we had the topic on the show a couple weeks ago, and everybody was picking on the show Ibushi, Okada, and I wanted to go different. I don't like to be the same. I like to do something a little different. And the one thing that I've learned, Alex, and I think we agreed on this together last week, it's the sense that both um the only New Japan is the only, I think, wrestling brand that doesn't spoil anything. Ring of Honor, AEW, Impact, WWE, NWA, and there's no knock on them. It just happens that that's the case because they're also in America and there's more ways of getting their information. New Japan doesn't spoil a single thing,
No.
and they swerve us. They swerve us every time. As I said last week, Will Ospreay was a guy that was hot going into the he was hot in the Super Juniors. Won. I thought he would win the G1. He did not. It wound up being Ibushi. So they swerved me there. Then I thought Ibushi was going to win at then I thought Ibushi was going to win at Wrestle Kingdom. He not only lost to Okada, he lost to Jay White the next night. So they swerve us. They kind of swerved us a little bit in this tournament with Evil getting to the finals. But I think deep down I knew Okada was going to get there, and I knew he was going to be Takahashi. But I just wanted to be different and maybe think, oh, they're going with the hot hand. Maybe we'll see. And I'm excited for the finals. I think the finals are going to be great. I thought both matches were spectacular. I thought they did a great job producing them. I thought Okada Takahashi really set the bar. Sonata Evo was very interesting.
Yeah, it definitely was. And the one thing that shocked me the most was when Hiromu got knocked out. And many fans, including you, were speculating Hiromu would make it through to the final. I give Hiromu credit for getting to the semi round as far as he did. But I had a feeling, a small feeling, that also my pick, Sonata, wasn't going to win after the brutal chair shot and reverse DDT he took.
Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting that you brought that up, Alex, because that leads me into my next question to you is, was the way Evil won. Now, the thing is, Evil and Sonata have won multiple IWGP Tag Team Championships together. They're also partners and teammates in LIJ. I'm curious, do you think this is going to add some problems in LIJ with the way Evil won his match? Low blowing Sonata, hitting him with the chair, taking some undermined developments, because he kind of did that same thing with Yoshihashi and it was kind of a squash match. So do you think this is a concern for LIJ, you know, with both Sonata and Evo?
I think it's a I think definitely it's a concern. I feel like it's going to cause some friction between Lij with Sonata and Evil. I feel like Evil and Sonata are going to somehow still get into a argument about who should go who should have won in that tournament.
And really quick, Roxana makes a comment. She says, "I think Rainmaker is a new school to Jerry." It's an interesting comparison. I think Okada's a little more athletic than Tajiri is, and also Okada's a heavyweight, whereas Tajiri was kind of a cruiserweight. But I get what you're saying for sure, and thank you for the comments. And for any more people that want to comment, you can on Facebook. We will mention them on the show. Email us too, Alex. We'll answer the emails for sure, right, Alex? You have it open already, ready to go. So if you have questions,
Definitely, I have it open.
we will answer them. But we'll see going forward. I think what's also interesting is next weekend is kind of a all New Japan weekend because you have the final set for the New Japan Cup on the 11th. So before our show goes live next Saturday, I could tell you this right now. Alex and I are 100% going to be watching the finals because we have to talk about it. We have to see who's going to win. Is it Okada or is it Evil? And on the addition, because then the next day on the 12th, they're gonna have Dominion at Osaka-jo Hall. So you win the New Japan Cup, Alex. You don't really get to celebrate for that long because you're facing Naito the next day for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Do you like how the scheduling was done it that way, where the winner of the cup goes right to facing Okada the next day?
I like how it's set up. I love the idea of how they're going right towards Naito after the final round. And I think Okada is going to pull through. I think it's going to be him that defeats Evil. And it's going to be interesting to see where Okada and Naito go, how they perform in the championship.
So the interesting thing is, and I want to give a quick shout to Lyle Gillen, who's one of my co-hosts on Takedown Breakdown. He mentioned this to me, and this was a true story. The Olympics were supposed to happen in Japan, remember, Alex, this year, and they got moved, obviously, the next year. So Okada was supposed to be the one that carried the torch in the Olympics. So Okada was going to win both the, I believe, the IWGP Heavyweight Championship and what's the other chip? I believe it's the Intercontinental Championship. That's also, I think, that he holds, right? Naito right now he's double champion.
Yes, he's double champ. He's both IWGP Intercontinental Champion and the Heavyweight Champion.
Yes. So he was supposed to carry the torch into the Olympics with both belts. And he did not. So my guess is when I look at how it's going to go, I think Okada's going to win it on Saturday. And then I think he's going to beat Naito for the heavyweight championship on Sunday. That's my prediction on where I think they'll go with this because, again, that was the original prediction going forward. But, of course, COVID-19 happened. The Olympics had to be moved. And we'll see going forward how they do this. But I like the scheduling. Now, I'd be very surprised if Evil won. But at the same time, if you look at the way Evil's been winning his matches, he's using chair shots, low blows.
The guardrails even. He's using the guardrails, the wood outside on the floor.
Yeah, everything. He's using all of it. Every single part of the ring, he's using it legal and illegal. And it's interesting because I wouldn't be shocked if he tries that against Okada. And I think we could see an all-out brawl. I'm kind of curious what the rest of the Dominion card looks like. I'm excited. I'm curious if they're going to do more of those six-man tag team matches. If they're going to do more, if they're gonna do some maybe storylines. Like I 100% can also see like the Golden Ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi and Kota Ibushi going up against Zack Sabre Jr. and Taichi. And that's another thing I really want to mention because we only have a few more minutes left. Is how is it? How Taichi was able to get to the Elite Eight, And the reason why they did that is because they wanted to start a storyline. My guess is to have him beat Tanahashi and Ibushi, but have Zack Sabre help him. Therefore, it gives them an opponent going forward for the tag team champions at Dominion. So I'm kind of curious. And Roxana says, the only thing I don't understand about New Japan Pro Wrestling is the rankings, how they rank their wrestling over there. So it's they do it like AEW does a straight ranking. It's a great question. So thank you for comment. It's an excellent question, actually.
Definitely.
Because it's interesting because NXT does kind of the same thing. They don't really have a ranking system. The only wrestling company that has a real ranking system, and it's not even used some of the time, is AEW. You know, because I look at it like this. Take Fyter Fest Night 2, for example. We're going to preview it. I think the number one contenders or number two contenders right now, what the Best Friends lost, is the Dark Order. But the Dark Order is already in the match. Therefore, Private Party's getting the opportunity to challenge. So the ranking system is kind of it's interesting, but they do a lot of tournaments, Roxana. They do a lot of tournaments to determine who is going to be the next challenger. Sometimes you'll get a person come out and challenge the champion, like a Minoru Suzuki last year challenged Okada. But most of the time, it's all based on tournaments, like the G1, like the G1, the New Japan Cup, the Super Juniors. They have so many different ways of making new contenders going forward.
And then they also do the World Tag Team Tournament that they have every year.
Yeah. And also, by the way, if you get a chance, I mentioned this to you Alex before we move on to our AEW NXT review. Check out the new Lion show that they have on New Japan World. I watched it last night, and Carl Fredericks, man, that kid, he's going to be a really good stud. He's 29 years old, big guy. He pinned Rocky Romero in the tag team match yesterday between him and TJP versus Jeff Cobb and Rocky Romero. Carl Fredericks, it's basically all wrestlers that are in the dojo. Sometimes they go against each other. Sometimes they go against veterans. So I think it's a great show. I think it's an excellent opportunity for these kids that are over in LA doing stuff. So check it out Friday nights. It's only about 35 minutes long. And they only have about matches. So it's really quick, short, and it's really good. So definitely want to check that out. But let's move on to our next topic. NXT and AEW. You had Fyter Fest Night 1 and you had the Great American Bash, and there was a lot of action that happened. You had the main event tag team match for on AEW, along with a couple of things. You had the opening match. I thought both opening matches, Alex, were spectacular on both shows. You had the Women's Fatal 4. I was so happy that Tegan Nox won. Coming back from her injuries that she's had, I think that she's somebody that has grown so much on the roster in the last year. She's really come into her own. I love it. And I like that her and Dakota Kai were the final two, because that rivalry, I think, has come to fruition at this point. I think it is what it is.
Just the only thing about Tegan Nox and her winning, I just feel like it could have had more background build towards that match, that Women's Fatal 4-Way.
You think it was too quickly done? Like, do you think they just threw it together and said, here you go?
Yeah, pretty much. I feel like they just went, hey, here's a match, and let's go with that. Not really a story behind it.
Well, I like the fact that I like the fact that they had Tegan win. I'm happy. I'm not a big Candice LeRae fan. I don't think she has much personality to me. I think she's very dry, and she's just somebody that, they try to make her a heel and a face, and for me, it just doesn't work. She was great on the Indies, but doesn't work here. Mia Yim is good. I think she's somebody that I think is still developing, but she's had some excellent matches. Dakota Kai has immensely improved, Alex, especially as a heel. She fits the heel persona so much more. I want the Tegan to win. I'm a big Tegan Nox fan. I think she's somebody that has come back from so many injuries, that has produced the last few months. And then you had the opening match too on Fyter Fest, Jurassic Express versus MJF and Wardlow. And this has to be said, MJF, yes, his team lost, but he did not get pinned, and it wasn't a singles match. So therefore, in his singles career, he's still undefeated.
Yes,
Very
and
important.
his opening match promo was very, very good. I loved that. That was just phenomenal how he put it all together and worded it. It was
Jack,
great.